Hello, everyone. This is Rick with the Cyber Pro podcast, where industry leaders share their insights. It's about 5 questions in 9 minutes because hackers never sleep. Fausto, let's kick it off. First question: who are you and what do you do?
Um, I'm a technical founder, they call me, right? Is in 18 years as a cybersecurity engineer. Started, built Sigberis and founded Sigberis about 5.5 years ago with a big goal in mind, which is how can we build software that can help enterprises with their security in the cloud and governance. And I day to day, that's what I do. Work with customers, work with product teams, work with engineering, and just try to deliver really good solutions to the market.
Awesome. So I'm gonna give you the second question, but there's actually going to be two parts to it because you're one of those rare breeds that you're not only a cybersecurity specialist or professional, you're also an entrepreneur. So why do you love being in cyber, and why do you love being an entrepreneur?
Wow, that's a great question. From an entrepreneurship perspective, it's always great to go over new challenges, right? And that's what I really like, figuring things out, solving problems, solving business problems. And when you mix that with in cyber, it's the same approach. In cybersecurity, nothing is certain. So I think that combination of uncertainty and always, instead of playing offense, playing defense most of the time, I think it's a great combination in both worlds. So I like there's always a new day every single day. There's something to do and nothing is repetitive. And I think I was able to combine both worlds and feel pretty lucky about it.
That's great. Cybersecurity is a top concern. I'll do air quotes on that because that's the quote of the year so far. But what does cybersecurity as a top concern mean to you?
I think one of the biggest concern is that the landscape and technology is advancing pretty fast, right? So one of the biggest concern is the way of building applications, the way that enterprises and public, private entities are building the infrastructure, from a country perspective, from an industry per industry perspective. I think because it's going so fast and the threats are evolving and the changes are rapidly moving, the biggest concern is trying to defend a moving target, right? It's velocity versus threat. So it's high risk. And I think we haven't been able to cut up, and I said we as the human element and from an education perspective, just to catch up with the velocity of business, the velocity of government entities, and of course the velocity of threats. So when in a world where everything is fast, how can you stay up front? And I think that's the biggest concern I see.
I'm going to see if you have a potential answer for that. But how do you think we can take a breath while still being at that speed, right? We're moving so fast in the world of cyber. How do you think we can take a breath and still accomplish, keeping up or at least trying to keep up?
Yeah, I think is changing the approach. Starts with, I don't want to say think outside the box. It's a little cliche of an answer, but I think changing the approach of how we look at the problem, listen to the problem, understand the risk, and also the approach of solving the approach of solving the problem itself. So I think that there's still a lot of hope and light at the end of the tunnel. But I think from a cybersecurity professional, from a solutions software company, from a CEO, from an entrepreneur, from an enterprise, when you look at all these elements, I think that it's time for us to sit down, take a breather, and understand, is it what we're doing working or not working, and not being afraid of changing the entire approach.
Love it. Love it. So here's your chance. What insight do you want to share with our network of cyber professionals?
I think the biggest thing is to listen, right? Is to listen to the problem, listen to the room, listen to the top concerns from a business perspective. I think if cybersecurity professionals are very driven to solve the threat and to hunt the threat, that really don't put themselves in a business position, right? It's like, what is the biggest risk to the business today, and start with that. And I think that's the most value that any cybersecurity professional can bring to the organization, is to have a business driven approach to their craft, is what has helped me throughout my entire career, is to understand business first and then the technology.
Fun question, final question. What's your favorite piece of retro technology that makes you smile?
Um, Honestly, ping. The old thing that, I remember when back in, like 15, 20 years ago, when things used to go down, like systems used to go down, the first thing is like, can you ping the IP address? The coming back, right? And I think and it still works.
It
I
still
think,
works.
yeah, when I see like ICMP reply, I definitely smile.
Nice. Thank you so much for being on the podcast.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, Rick.
Thank you for watching the Cyber Pro podcast. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss out on new podcasts and bonus content.